Okay, what is ketosis? Ketosis is when your body gets rid of all of its glycogen stores and then starts running off ketones. Ketones are called the starvation hormone. It's kind of I don't like using that term because it sounds bad, but all it is your body finding an alternate fuel source other than glycogen. And so it uses ketones to then take the stored fat in your body and use that as fuel. Now, a lot of people ask me, how do you get into ketosis? To get into keto, you need to have 65 to 80% of your diet be made up of fats, about 20 to 30% made up of proteins, about 5% carbohydrates. To get into keto, you basically just eat that way for 2 weeks, to a month, and you usually get in within that time. Getting into keto is typically when people piss on a little strip that you can buy at like Walmart or whatever that turns colors for how many ketones you have in your system. You can get into keto a little bit quicker if you incorporate a little bit of intermittent fasting or if you exercise. 2 weeks to a month is for people who typically don't exercise or just may have a harder time getting into keto. It's no big deal. It's part of the process. Keto is a really fun diet. I don't like that word. I'll get into that later. Your carbohydrates need to be about 20 grams roughly, but that's 20 grams of net carbohydrates. You want to think about it kind of like taxes, but in a good way. So let's say for an even number, you make $1,000 a week. Well, after 401k and taxes, and now you're only getting $800 net pay. That's how you want to factor in your carbohydrates in keto. So let's say you had about 40 grams of carbohydrates on one of your days. Well, if you look at how much fiber you had, you want to subtract that from however much the carbs say. So say your carbs say 40, but you had 24 grams of fiber, kind of a lot. You're supposed to eat about 20 to 30 grams of fiber a day, but let's just say you had 24. So you subtract 24 from that 40, and it's 16 grams of carbs, net carbs for that day. So you're like, oh cool, I can have 4 carbs. Maybe I'll have like a bite of ice cream or whatever, but that's how you want to look at carbs in the keto diet. So that's basically it for how to get into keto. As far as what to eat though, I think tracking your macros, at least in the very beginning, is a good indicator so you understand what you're eating on a day-to-day basis. There's a great app called MyFitnessPal. A lot of people know about it, but if you don't, you download it and you can enter in your foods for the day, and they have a lot of like restaurant foods and normal foods, and it's a good indicator of what you're eating for the day. It might be off a little bit. Sometimes you have to pay attention to what you're typing in. Or if you go on MyFitnessPal, you can type in what you ate for that day, and it'll has another page to show you, okay, well you had 70 grams of fat today, 20 grams of protein, or 20% protein and 10% carbs, and it gives you all the numbers and how much protein and iron and fibers in each food, all that sort of stuff. It's a great app, totally recommend it. As far as what to eat in keto, what I find helps a lot of people doing keto or getting into keto, a lot of people I've talked to or know that got into keto aren't typically used to dieting, or they have dieted and they didn't do very well. They had a hard time because it felt like they just couldn't be gluttonous and that they felt like they had to just eat salads all day. That's not really the case with keto. I totally recommend, shouldn't say I totally recommend, but to get into keto, just get into keto. Eat cheese, eat, tons of animal fats, have a bunch of butter, bacon, whatever, because it's going to make the diet seem fun, and you're going to see weight loss from eating that stuff, and it's going to make you feel good. A lot of people are going to be like, well, what the fuck, Corey, that's horrible, that's horrible, you shouldn't be eating a lot of those processed foods or whatever. I totally recommend buying organics and, grass-fed meats and butters and cheeses, raw milk cheese, but even then a lot of people, it's still, a lot of these foods. I understand that But the reason I say that is it's a lot easier for people to get into ketosis, lose the weight, and feel better about themselves, and then make the change over once they're in ketosis to eating good foods, eating the better foods more often, getting a lot of their fats from nuts and coconut oil and avocado. But I find it's easier for people to start the diet eating your more gluttonous type foods. Most of us know by now that fat doesn't make you fat. That was a scare that happened in the 60s, 70s, and 80s from corporations paying politicians and paying doctors to relay certain information and push certain agendas, but it's flat out not true. Fat does not make you fat. Unhealthy lifestyles make you fat. Another thing that people like to bring up when you talk about keto is ketoacidosis. Ketoacidosis is typically a problem with type 2 diabetics that have high amounts of glucose and ketones in their blood, and what it does is it makes your blood very acidic and it damages your liver and kidneys. Another big question I get asked a lot: can you build muscle on keto? Short answer, yes. There's a lot more that goes into it. You're not going to see the same results as someone who's closely watching their macros. To get briefly into the science of it, your cells fill with glycogen, and so when you're lifting,
so I'm coming day and night.
You can immediately use that energy from the stored cells, or from the glycogen stored in the cells. When you're on keto, you have all your glycogen stores are completely depleted, so your body has to use other forms of energy. It has to pull from all over the place versus it already having it readily available in one spot. That's a very, very, very crude explaining of it. There's tons of videos out there that can explain it a lot better than I just did. Like ASAP Science, they're a great video. It's the whole whiteboard drawing and a voiceover while they're drawing on whiteboards and explaining shit. Awesome, love those guys. So you can build muscle, you won't notice as much gains. It's definitely possible. And if you're working out, you can be a little bit more lenient with how many carbs you have, so that's pretty cool as well. And for the most part, you can't really eat too many fruits unless it's strawberries and blueberries. Eat a lot of fibrous veggies. Even if you're not doing keto, just eat tons of fibrous veggies, which are going to be your darker green veggies, like your leafy vegetables. They have a lot of micronutrients that you don't get as often in other places. You just eat those, nice dark green fibrous vegetables. A lot of dark purple vegetables are really good for you as well. Nuts are another really good food to eat while in keto. They're very calorically dense because they're made up of mostly fats. Nuts are great, especially if you're on the go and you just need something to bring with. A handful of nuts is like 800 calories. That'll keep you satiated for quite a while. So yeah, eat nuts, eat nuts, eat nuts. Buy grass-fed, no antibiotic, no nitrate, all that sort of stuff. That's another general rule of thumb. Typically, your grass-fed meats have more nutrients in them.
Just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Like grass-fed butter, it's a great way to get your fats in for the day, and it's a lot better for you than having some other, just regular butter that's been processed and, filtered or whatever. It's just grass-fed is better, it's creamier, it tastes better, hands down. Just by grass-fed. What's not talked about a lot of time are the important fats, and MCT is one of the bigger ones. MCT stands for medium chain triglycerides. Your coconut oil is made up about 60 to 70% medium chain triglycerides, which makes having some coconut oil every day very beneficial for you. To get your fats in, what a lot of people do is they'll make bulletproof coffee. So just you're adding fats to your coffee. Adding in that stuff is fantastic. A coffee with coconut oil, all it does is take the bitterness away from the coffee, and it kind of just gives it like a creamy, very aromatic texture and taste. And doing keto is definitely something that was fun for me because I got to be in the kitchen.
Get back in the kitchen!
It's like, oh, cool, I get to add cheese to this dish or whatever. Just finding keto recipes, like, you can make keto pizza. Keto doesn't have to be just eating fucking avocados, nuts, and drinking a gallon of coconut oil or whatever. You can make keto a hell of a lot of fun. I totally recommend doing keto if you're looking for weight loss or an edge or just to try it. And I hope this video helped in some sort of way to push you in the right direction. But I think keto is great. I'm currently still on it. Been on it for about 5 to 6 months. hardcore. I've done it in the past off and on. Like I said, I hope this video helps you guys to like my videos or whatever. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you think I'm a fucking idiot, please comment. Call me out on whatever. I'll put links in the description for ASAP Science, for MyFitnessPal, and another great website for great information is a website called ruled.me. RULED.me. I'll put a link in the description for that as well. It gives you a macro calculator for keto, gives you recipes, articles, tons of information. Like I said, do other research. Don't just listen to me. I'm just a fucking idiot. I'm just a fucking idiot.
I'm just a fucking idiot.
So, yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you. I appreciate you finishing the video. Thank you. You made it to the end. Thank you. Appreciate you all. Make sure to like and subscribe. This has been Corey's the Shit.